I'm saying the system wasn't built for us to win, not by mistake, by design. It's working exactly how they built it, to drain you. School didn't teach you to think. It taught you to wait your turn, follow orders, ask permission to speak. That's not education. That's early obedience training. Then they fed you.
Don't forget, a moment ago, I saw something babbling about simulation theory, if I'm not mistaken, in the keyword search, whatever that fucking garbage is on TikTok. So this is relevant. Simulate. I don't think I spelled it right. Here, we'll do this. Simulation. Let's see if it works. The multiverse of adult fairy tales, comma, quantum theory, comma, and all things holographic nonsense are in place to pave the way for a one-world religion, period. Naturally, this hasn't dawned on superficial internet babies who repost every single thing they're spoon-fed in their feed, period. Just double-checking there and there. Whoops, fucked it up because I was still talking at it. A lot of times Google will flip these things and or turn them into a title.
The script. Get a job, work 40 hours, pay half in taxes, retire when you're too old.
By the way, the sky is blue.
Because that's what good people do, right? You work, sleep, repeat, while they collect. You're not tired from life. You're tired from the scam. Ask yourself, who benefits when millions
just
trade
a reminder,
their
this
lives
sky
for
is
just
blue.
enough to survive? You think freedom is weekends off, vacations once a year? Please, real freedom is never asking again, never clocking in. They made the system boring on purpose.
You know what I question? Whether or not this is a genuine human that I'm listening to and watching. And that's not how things should be. And it's highly likely it's not. Best of all, if this video served you in a beneficial way whatsoever, 48,000 people wouldn't have been able to click like, and 15,000 wouldn't have circulated it. People would not have seen this if it reflected reality and was important, because freedom of speech no longer exists. Because people were trained to call censorship shadow banning, canceling, polarizing positive vibes only, debunked, Snopes, and the list goes on. Have you ever dismissively referred to somebody as a hater to reaffirm your dogmatic belief system? Well, if so, motherfucker, you're supporting fascism. And you aren't bright enough to realize as much.
Predictable, exhausting, familiar, so you'd never look up. But if you're hearing this, you already feel it. The 9 to 5 was never built to make you rich. It was built to keep you obedient. So here's your choice. Keep playing loyal worker, or build something they can't fire you from. Don't just break the script, burn it, then write your own. This is just...
And this entire video promotes simulation theory. The Matrix. It's subliminal imagery at its finest. Look closely.
To drain you. School didn't teach you to think. It taught you to wait your turn, follow orders, ask permission to speak.
You can assume otherwise, but it's everywhere these days. Fucking everywhere. Because our masters want you to believe in it. Meanwhile, we're quite literally building the infrastructure through complacency and or people are signing up to work jobs where they set up the towers and other cables and other aspects of this garbage that I'm referring to. The DARPA internet is part of this. All social media is part of this. I complain about emojis a lot. It's part of it. And people don't want to understand this. They don't want to accept this. They don't want to challenge themselves. They don't want to appreciate, quite literally, the truth. They want to wax poetic about a superficial version in the truth community, which is a circle jerk, while they're chasing their tail. But they don't want to confront the fact that they are quite literally contributing to everything that is absolutely wrong. And they're not willing to compromise themselves in a way. In other words, they're not willing to give up modern conveniences. They're not willing to give up their entertainment. They're not willing to stop marching in lockstep and do the right thing. To take the time to reason out what does and doesn't reflect reality. In other words, challenging themselves and all the shit they've ever been spoon-fed. Why? So that they could challenge the people in their immediate circle, their family, their loved ones, their neighbors, their friends, etc., etc. And in doing so, you would probably be ostracized. People would reject you. People would laugh you off or laugh it off and tell you that you're crazy because they're not willing to look into anything. They're not willing to challenge themselves. And so it goes. Our masters guide us through convenience and entertainment. That's a very simple way to explain that people do not know what they're talking about and they're not willing to. They're marching in lockstep. I say this often. I say a lot of things often, but people don't think about the words that come out of my mouth. They assume that I'm not helping them. At least that's what people have told me in recent times. People assume that they're being helped. If you dress up a really flowery video, superficial shit like you just saw here, and you afford them the option to click repost and pretend that they're smarter than they actually are. That's what people think is helping. That's what people think information is. Garbage like this is propaganda. What I'm up to is the opposite of that. Trying to help you, emphasis on the word trying, but in order for that to work, you have to think for yourself. You have to open your mind and be willing to scrutinize what I left online today. But the chances of that happening are slim to none because I am censored on the DARPA internet. I'm going to leave this on YouTube. I may leave this on TikTok. If I leave this on TikTok, it will be censored most likely. It will at least be flagged. I'll have to challenge it, which is the opposite of freedom of speech because community guidelines is the opposite of freedom of speech. It's fascism at its finest. And what I just said assures that this will be flagged at some point, not always out of the gates, but at some point. If I leave it on YouTube, I'll probably have 0 fucking views. At least that's what it's been lately. And 1 or 2 people who give a shit about me pop in and they watch some of the videos. But if you and I were surrounded by so many fucking good people who have their finger on the pulse and we're living in the age of information and they're so fucking smart, I'd see a lot more foot traffic coming through there. I'd see a lot of thoughtful comments from intelligent people willing to do the right thing. That doesn't happen. It does not happen. I've been at this for over 10 years. And that has not happened. Usually if somebody interacts with me, it's a knee-jerk reaction. They talk at me with emojis. They're truncating their words. They quite literally chose to dumb themselves down and others by example based on how they conduct themselves. That's who I interact with, typically speaking. And I'm not very nice to those people. Because I urge them to do better, as the kids were trained to repeat but are unwilling to, walk the walk. What the fuck do I know? Perspective's sake. You see the account warning? Do you see the 10 followers? Yeah?